Before we start, guys, I just need to let you know that I have a family, okay? So if you guys can do me a favor and stop being so mean in the comment section down below, that'd be great. I'm just trying to feed my 5 kids. Could you guys imagine if I had kids? Dude, I'm barely out of the kid phase as it is. Oh my gosh, let's just get started. What's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB tier list. You guys absolutely go crazy for these videos, and you guys are also very, very, very mean and ruthless in the comment section. And you know what? I'm all good. I'm okay. You guys can be as mean as possible because, again, these are all of our opinions. But before we actually start, I do have to give a quick shout out to my man, I Am The Slump, over on Twitter. I'm going to put him in the description down below. Make sure that you guys go follow him because I didn't want to do this myself because I don't think I would have done a great job because I think I'm biased, so I had a completely unrelated person make this. So go follow him on Twitter, say thank you for making this, and without further ado, let's just get into it. So as you guys can see, this is going to be pretty much a carbon copy of the last video that we did of the greatest positional players of all time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use that same approach for the pitchers, which is going to have relief pitchers included. So as you guys can see, we have Craig Kimbrell at the #1 spot. I am going to go ahead and put Craig Kimbrell in the, you guys might go ahead and just dislike the video now because I'm going to go ahead and put Craig Kimbrell in the, I don't know, because he has amazing stats. I'm going to go ahead and put him in the great for now because I feel like we still have to have a few more years of seeing Craig Kimbrell to see where it ends up. But for right now, Craig Kimbrell has been insane. Also, guys, real quick, I do have to be honest, I don't know the stats of all of these pitchers. So, for example, I don't know who Bruce Sutter, I know who Bruce Sutter is, but I have never seen his stats. I believe he was a relief pitcher. So, again, we're going to use the website called Baseball Reference. I'm pretty sure that you guys have used it before. So, he has a career 24.1 career WAR, which is actually not too bad for a relief pitcher. So, he had a 2.83 ERA with 300 saves. That's pretty good. Oh my gosh, he had 129 strikeouts in a single season as a relief pitcher. That is insane. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put Bruce Sutter in the legend department because I don't think he was one of the greatest. I don't think he is the greatest relief pitcher of all time, but I'm pretty sure that all of you guys would consider him a legend. He's always been in MLB The Show, so usually if you're a legend, you're in MLB The Show, so that's usually how it goes. Now we have Walter Johnson. This guy has to be in the GOAT conversation. Again, just like the last video, I don't mind putting a lot of people in the GOAT category as long as I think that their stats are up there. So if you guys want to take a look at Walter Johnson's stats, go and do that, but I promise you guys, you will not be disappointed. Next up, we have Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax had such an interesting career. If we go to his profile, so we type in Sandy Koufax, the strangest thing about him is the fact that he did not start his career off very well. So he started off actually pretty decent, 3.02 ERA, then a 4.91, 3.88, 4.4. So he did end his career absolutely on fire. Look at those stats, 14-7 with a 2.54, 25-5, 1.18, 1.74, 2.04, 1.03. So he was like fine wine. He got better with age, and I believe that he would have ended his career on a historic pace if it wasn't for injury. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an executive decision, honestly, because I've heard so many people say that Sandy Koufax was the toughest pitcher that they ever faced. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in the GOAT conversation. I know that he was not able to end his career on a high note because of the injury, and I know that he didn't start off his career, but honestly, from a pure talent perspective, he's got to be in the conversation for GOAT. Alright guys, so next up we have Phil Niekro. Honestly, I don't even want to put this guy on my list because I've had so many nightmares about this fella when I'm playing MLB The Show, and I'm glad that he's not in The Show 19, but as a pitcher, I mean, my gosh, he has 318 wins. He does have 274 losses. He's led the league quite some time. He doesn't have the highest or the lowest ERA ever. He had a 1.87 in 1967. How many Cy Youngs has he won? So he's a 5-time All-Star. He won 5 Gold Gloves. I think what we're going to do is I think he's going to be our second player in the legend. Not the greatest pitcher of all time, but definitely worth our respect. And the next guy, Jim Palmer, is in the same category. Really good, not the best. I think that he is a legend because he's one of the greatest pitchers in Baltimore history, so we'll give him that. Nolan Ryan, if you don't put Nolan Ryan in your GOAT conversation, you might as well just close out the tab. Just don't even do it anymore because if Nolan Ryan is not in your top 10, top 5 starting pitchers of all time, you don't know baseball. The next player we have is Jim Bunning. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to be completely honest. I did not know who this player was before I started looking at this list. So he had a 59.4 career WAR, 224 wins, which is not too bad. If we take a look at the strikeouts, wow, he had a pretty dominant stretch of almost striking out. Wow. Okay, so this guy was really good. He did not get the 300 wins. He did not get the 3,000 strikeouts, but he did have a 3.27 career ERA. that is really good, but we're going to go ahead and put Jim Bunning in the legend department. Up next, Bob Gibson. You guys have seen his stats. He is one of those guys that you would not want to face, whether you're a righty, a lefty, a switch hitter. It does not matter. He was going to strike you out and make you look like a complete fool. So next up, we have Rich Gossage. Again, I've used this guy a lot while playing MLB The Show, but I've never really looked at his career stats. So he's a 9-time All-Star. He's a Hall of Famer, obviously. If we take a look, so he had a couple years. He had 1 year where he started a bunch of games. He had a 3.94 ERA. But if we take a look at his saves, he had 310 saves. What was his career ERA? He had a 3.01 career ERA. So for right now, I don't know if I would consider him the greatest relief pitcher of all time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put him in the legend department again. Really amazing. I'm not trying to, downplay his career, but again, not the greatest relief pitcher that I've ever seen. That's just my opinion. Next up, we have a guy that would not blow you away, as you guys can tell by his strikeouts per 9 through his career. I think the top he ever had was 7.6, which is half of Max Scherzer. But if we take a look at Mr. Tom Glavine, he had an 80.7 career WAR. He was a 10-time All-Star, Cy Young Award winner. He has 305 wins to only 203 losses. He did he had a lot of seasons where his ERA was not that great. So what I'm going to do, just because his ERA is pretty up there, I'm going to go ahead and put him in the legend department. Next up, Pedro Martinez. Come on. Pedro Martinez is up there with Nolan Ryan, Bob Gibson. This guy was just so filthy. I have to put him in the GOAT conversation. You guys can check the stats. I'm not lying to you guys. Bartolo Colon, is there a greatest of all time? Undoubtable. There's no top tier. So this one's just a joke. I'm really glad that he put this in. I'm going to go ahead and put Bartolo Colon in the great because I think he's had a very long career. So if you have a long career, you're doing something right. So Bartolo, I know all the memes and everything like that. It's kind of watered down his legacy, but he's still pretty good. Max Scherzer, oh my gosh, this is actually going to be really tough because I was looking at his stats right before I made this video, and the last 6 or 7 years have been historic. So what I'm going to do, just because his career is not done yet, actually, I don't know what I want to do. I think I actually might go ahead and do it. I might put Max Scherzer in the GOAT because, let's take a look at his stats. If we're being baseball nerds, so if we go to Max Scherzer, it wasn't until kind of his second to last year in Detroit where he had a 2.9, a 3.15, then he had a 2.79, 2.96, 2.51. This guy has been absolutely electric. But what we're going to do, he already has 2,500 strikeouts. Oh my gosh, so he's easily going to get to 3,000, but for right now, what we're going to do, just because his career isn't over yet, we're going to go ahead and put him in the legend department. I think he's been better than great, but I think we have some untapped potential left in the tank. Next up, we have CC Sabathia. You guys might call me crazy, but I just think his ERA has been very high over the course of his career from Cleveland to the Brewers. He was really good with the Brewers. I think it was the one half of baseball that he played. And then with the New York Yankees, he's won a couple. I think he's won 1 or 2 Cy Youngs, but I think CC Sabathia is really good, great, but definitely not a legend or a GOAT. Felix Hernandez is going to be great as well. I think that Max Scherzer has surpassed him. Again, he's been amazing over the course of his career, but the final couple years have been so bad that I think he's actually kind of hurt his own legacy with how bad he's aged. So we're going to put him in the great. Same for Zach Greinke. So the last couple guys have all kind of been in the league together. We have Max Scherzer, CC Sabathia, Zach Greinke, and Felix Hernandez. I think you guys can kind of agree with me on that one. So far, I'm actually really liking my list. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this guy's stats or ever heard of Juan Martial, but he is insane. He has a 243 and 142 record with a career 2.89 ERA, and he has 2,300 strikeouts. So he wasn't the most prolific. Actually, I take that back. He had 248, he had 240, he had 218, 222. So this guy was known to strike people out. So we're going to go ahead and put him in. I don't know if he was better than Pedro Martinez or Bob Gibson, so we're going to go ahead and put him in the legend conversation because I feel like I'm actually doing fairly well. Justin Verlander, I know that I keep going to the stats, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm better with positional players than I am actual pitchers. That's just who I am. He has a career 66 WAR. He has a 2.3 ERA and an 8-2 record so far in 2019, so he is still doing Justin Verlander things. He has a 212 and 125 record. That is really good. A career 3.36 ERA. He's won an MVP, a Cy Young, a Rookie of the Year. This guy has been insane. He's so close to 3,000 strikeouts. How can I not consider him in the GOAT conversation? I think just like Max Scherzer, they have been insane just for today. Like, call me in 10 years and maybe we can redo this if I'm still doing YouTube videos. But for right now, I'm going to put Justin Verlander in the legend conversation. Same for Catfish Hunter. I think he was really good, but not the best. Kurt Schilling, I mean, these next couple ones are going to be pretty good and pretty easy because I feel like you guys can all agree that they're not GOAT players just yet, or that they weren't GOAT players. Same for Chris Sale. He has the talent to be one of the best pitchers that we've ever seen. He's nasty. He can throw 97. He's got a slider that will absolutely buckle your knees. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and put him in the legend as of right now. Or actually, I might even put him in the great because he's had a few seasons where he hasn't been the most. Actually, I'm just considering his stuff. I'm going to put him in the legend. Once his career is said and done, I think that Chris Sale is going to be considered one of the better pitchers ever. Maybe not the best of all time. Aroldis Chapman, I'm going to go ahead and put him in the great department because, again, just like Craig Kimbrell, I think that there's a lot of years left on their shelf. I think that their shelf life is still pretty long, so we'll see where they end up. They're amazing. Don't get me wrong. They're in the conversation for one of the best relief pitchers of all time, but I think when you're only throwing 1 or 2 innings at a time, I'm not sure if you can be in the same class as these guys. There's one guy that will make the GOAT conversation for closers. Next up, we have Clayton Kershaw. You guys might hate me. I think that he is the modern day Sandy Koufax. I'm going to show you his stats because I think a lot of people give Clayton Kershaw crap because of his postseason record. Now, I know a lot of you guys do consider postseason success when you consider the greatest player of all time, but I mean, that's like saying LeBron James is not in the top 5 because I think he's 2-6 in the NBA Finals, something like that, or 3-6. I'm not really too sure. I think he's 3-6. But if we take a look at Kershaw's career: 2.79, 2.91, 2.28, 2.53, 1.83, 1.1. I mean, this guy's been absolutely insane. In 2019, which has been a down year so far, he's 5-0 with a 3.46 ERA. I mean, he struck out 301 hitters. This guy is a, for sure, greatest pitcher of all time. He's like the Peyton Manning of baseball. Not the best in the postseason, but Clayton Kershaw, definitely one of the best pitchers of all time. I know that he's not the best in the playoffs, but that's just me. Next up, we have Madison Bumgarner. I'm going to go ahead and put him in the great department. He's been really good over the course of his career. He's been a legend in the postseason, but I think you have to have kind of both. I just think Clayton Kershaw is so good already that he has to be in the GOAT conversation. Madison Bumgarner, I think I'm good right there in the great department. Greg Maddux, obvious GOAT. That is going to be super easy. Koji Irihara, I did not know that he was going to be on this list, but hey, he's on the list. There we go. You guys are going to have to excuse me on these next two ones because I've honestly never heard of them. We have Ted Lyons. So let's see what his stats are. He played way back in the day. He's in the Hall of Fame. He has a 260. So I think that he was pretty good. He's in the Hall of Fame, so I'm going to go ahead and consider him a legend. I'd probably put him in the great, but we'll put him in the legend department. Maybe that's just me, because that's a little bit different. Kevin Brown, again, I've never heard of this fella. Let's see where his stats are at. Kevin Brown, I hope I get the right one. Here we go. Is it this dude? So he had a 211 and 144 record with a 3.28 ERA. That's actually really good. In terms of strikeouts, he had 2,300. I had no idea that this guy existed. So that's why I like videos like this where I can look up guys. I'm going to go ahead and consider him a great. I don't think that anyone considers Kevin Brown a legend considering I don't know his name. Same for Ted Lyons. I'd probably put him in the great. Randy Johnson, come on now. Come on now. One of the greatest pitchers of all time. Just ask the bird that he blew up. I know, rest in peace. Sorry, bird. But I don't think that we have to go into detail about how good Randy Johnson was. I mean, Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, these are all for sure greatest pitchers of all time. John Lester, we're going to go ahead and put him in the great department. I think he's in the same category as Greinke, Felix Hernandez, Madison Bumgarner. Mariano Rivera is going to be our first relief pitcher in the GOAT conversation. A career, what is his career ERA? I think it's insane. And even when he was in the playoffs, so he has a 56.2 career WAR as a relief pitcher, which is just unheard of. He has an 82-60 record, so I mean, that's really good as a relief pitcher. A career 2.21 ERA. In one season, he struck out 130 hitters. I mean, he has the record for games finished, saves, and also ERA plus. If you don't have Mariano Rivera, Mr. Mo, and your GOAT, yeah, you don't watch baseball. I'm sorry. Jake Arrieta, this one's going to be pretty easy. He did have a really good 2016, I believe it was. Maybe even 2017, but he's definitely in the great. He started off horrible. Roger Clemens, I know that a lot of people accused him of using steroids. I'm going to put him in my GOAT conversation. I think he's a 6 or 7 time Cy Young Award winner. Easy GOAT. Lee Smith, we'll go ahead and put him in the legend department. I really think that there's one GOAT closing pitcher, so I'm going to go ahead and leave him in there. Raleigh Fingers, I do not know his stats. He might blow me away. You know, you never know. Raleigh Fingers, let's see what he has in store for us. He's a 7-time All-Star, he's a Cy Young Award winner. Oh my gosh. Okay, so he won a Cy Young as a relief pitcher. He had a 1.04 ERA. My goodness. So he had how many saves? 341 saves, a 2.90 ERA. I mean, he didn't strike out. Okay, never mind. He struck out a good amount of people. You know what? Raleigh Fingers, again, I'm only going to do this because Mo is in the GOAT conversation. I was almost tempted to put him in that GOAT because I think there's one other guy, Dennis Eckersley. He might have some strong consideration as well. Troy Percival, very good. He didn't have the longest of careers. Same with Eric Gagne. Very, very good relief pitchers in their prime. Who is that? Don Drysdale? That's actually a good one to look up because I do not know Don Drysdale's stats. So Don Drysdale, he pitched from 1956 to whatever it was, 1969. He had 2,486 strikeouts with, whoa. Didn't this guy throw a perfect game in the World Series or something like that? So he won three. I think I got to do it. I might have to put Don Drysdale in my GOAT conversation because 2.95 career ERA, almost 3,000 strikeouts in only 14 years. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I think that he is a GOAT pitcher of all time. Next up, who is that? Oh, Cy Young. Oh yeah, Cy Young. Welcome to the party, my man. One of the greatest pitchers of all time. Oh, Cy Young. He played in the time where he could throw 550,000 innings every single year. I don't really care what you guys have to say about that. Next up, we have Dizzy Dean. Oh my gosh, he went 30-7, 28-12, 24-13. He only played 12 years, but he had a good amount of strikeouts. I'm going to go ahead and put him in the legend department because, again, didn't really have the longest one. I know it's only 2 years less than Don Drysdale, but come on, it's Don Drysdale that we're talking about. Fergie Jenkins, I've used him a lot in MLB The Show, pretty good. I know that he had some pretty decent stats. We're going to go ahead and put him in the legend. Roy Halladay, I want to put him in the legend just because I love him so much, but I think I can't, if I'm not going to put Zach Greinke or King Felix in the legend, just for right now, I can't put Roy Halladay either, although I do love him. He's one of my favorites of all time. Al Neuheiser, we need some help on this one. I don't know his stats. Let's take a look. So he played a long time ago. He's a 2-time MVP, a Triple Crown, 7-time All-Star. Okay, all right. What do we work? Oh my gosh, 207 wins. He had 1,700 strikeouts. So again, he sounds pretty good. He's in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure he was good, but we're going to put him in the legend department. Dennis Eckersley. Let's see what this guy has up his sleeve. I know I'm going to this a lot, guys, but bear with me. I think I need it. It's proving my points. I need this. So he's an MVP, a Cy Young, a 6-time All-Star, an ALCS MVP. He won the World Series. He has 390 saves, a 3.5 career ERA. But if you take a look at the strikeouts, so he did start off as a starting pitcher, and then he got 390 saves in after. Okay, yeah, I don't care. Dennis Eckersley's in the GOAT conversation because he did it as a starting pitcher to start off, and then he got 390 saves in that short amount of time. My gosh, Jack Morris, I think he's a legend. I've actually met Jack Morris, really tall guy. He hates video games. He wanted me to come over and teach his grandson how to not play video games anymore. Oh my gosh. Billy Wagner, let's talk about him. Billy Wagner's stats will absolutely knock your socks off, guys. Take a look. From 1995 to 2010, he had a career 2.31 ERA. He had 422 saves. If you take a look at his strikeouts, 106, 124, 105, but it's really the ERA that gets me. 2.73, 2.52, 1.78. His highest career ERA was 6.18. Every other year was below 3. That is pretty much unheard of. In his final year at 38 years old, he had a 1.43 ERA, 104 strikeouts, and a 13.5 strikeouts per night. So he could have kept on going. So I am going to go ahead and do it. I think that Billy Wagner is going to be in the, I think he's going to, this is really tough. It's either going to be Mo and Billy Wagner. I don't know what I want to do. I think that he is one of the best of all time. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it. I think that Billy Wagner is in the conversation, not ahead of Mo, so we're going to put him right there. You guys might crush me for that, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Oral Hershiser, really, really good. He's a legend of his own, but does not have the career stats. Tom Seaver, he's Tom Seaver. He's also suffering, I think he has Alzheimer's right now or dementia, so my prayers go out to him. And then last but not least, Trevor Hoffman. I actually am curious to see what his stats are. I know that he has over 600 saves, but let's see what his ERA was and his strikeouts, because I know he wasn't a strikeout guy, but he does have 601 saves. He has a 2.87 career WAR. I think that's all I needed to know. He is a GOAT relief pitcher of all time. So guys, there is my list right there. I hope that you guys did enjoy. This was a longer video, but you know what? For these tier lists, we really have to be in depth, so I wanted to go into the stats. But if you guys agree or disagree with any of my picks, let me know in the comment section down below. Again, thank you to I Am The Slump on Twitter for creating this for me. You are the absolute legend. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next one. I need some water. Peace out.